The UFC pound-for-pound landscape has just been shaken in a way fans didn't see coming. Two champions, two title reigns, and two completely different kinds of heartbreak inside the octagon have now shifted the entire order at the top of the sport. Merab Dvalishvili and Alexander Pantoja walked into UFC 323 in Las Vegas with gold around their waists and momentum on their side. They walked out without their titles, without their positions in the rankings, and without the same aura they carried for so long. And that single dramatic night has now opened the door for Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira, and several other elite fighters to surge up the latest UFC pound-for-pound standings. For Pantoja, the fall was as unexpected as it was painful. A 2.5-year reign at flyweight ended not with a war, not with a submission, not with a knockout, but with a freak injury that sucked the oxygen out of T-Mobile Arena. 26 seconds. That's all it took for Pantoja's title defense and his career momentum to come crashing down. When he fell awkwardly on his left arm after an early scramble against Joshua Van, everyone in the building knew something was wrong. The moment the referee waved it off, it didn't feel like a victory or a defeat. It felt like an accident that rewrote the division. Joshua Van became champion in the most anticlimactic way possible, but rules are rules, and the result is the result. Pantoja, who started the weekend ranked number 5 pound for pound, now falls 4 spots to number 9. His belt is gone, his momentum is gone, and for now, so is his presence at the top of the UFC's most elite list. But the flyweight drama wasn't the end of the chaos. The main event delivered another seismic shock. Merab Dvalishvili, the machine, the man who broke the bantamweight division with his pace, his cardio, his pressure, and his relentless style, was stopped not by finish, but by domination. Petr Yan came back with a vengeance. He didn't just reclaim the bantamweight title, he reclaimed his pride. Back in 2023, Dvalishvili defeated Yan in a fight that looked like the symbolic passing of the torch. But running it back was a completely different story. Yan fought with precision, patience, and discipline, taking away Dvalishvili's biggest weapons and outclassing him to a unanimous decision. Dvalishvili was ranked number 3 pound for pound heading into the fight, one of the most respected names in the entire sport. After the loss, he plummets 5 spots to number 8. It's a fall that reflects not just defeat, but how crowded and competitive the elite tier of the UFC has become. And that brings us to the biggest beneficiaries of the chaos: Tom Aspinall, Alexander Volkanovski, Alex Pereira, and Khamzat Chimaev. 4 champions, 4 powerhouses, all now moving up in the pound-for-pound conversation because opportunity opened and the UFC's ranking panel made their call. Tom Aspinall, the heavyweight king, continues his quiet but unstoppable march toward the top. He moves from number 8 to number 7, a single spot bump that may not look like much on paper, but is massive in a division where champions historically do not climb the pound-for-pound list quickly. Aspinall represents efficiency, power, and clean technique in a weight class often dominated by chaos. Every time he competes, he looks like a problem nobody at heavyweight has the tools to solve. And now, he sits one step closer to the top 5. Then there's Alexander Volkanovski. For years, he was the standard of excellence at featherweight. And despite recent setbacks, he remains one of the most respected fighters alive. Going from number 7 to number 5 puts him right back where many fans believe he belongs, among the best of the best. Volkanovski's technical depth, championship mentality, and willingness to face anyone at any time continue to be rewarded by the rankings. But the biggest wave was made by the man who has become one of the most feared and unstoppable forces in modern MMA, Alex Pereira. The light heavyweight champion jumps from number 6 to number 4, firmly establishing himself inside the top tier. Pereira has done something almost unheard of in today's UFC. He has become a double division champion, collected highlight reel knockouts, defeated elite names, and risen to stardom all in a fraction of the time most fighters need. Every time he steps into the octagon, there is electricity. Every time he lands, the world pauses. That climb from number 6 to number 4 is not just a ranking change. It is a recognition of one of the greatest combat sports careers we have ever witnessed. But even Pereira's rise couldn't stop the surge of the man who now sits at number 3, Khamzat Chimaev. Previously number 4, Chimaev now breaks into the top 3 thanks to his unbeaten record, his middleweight title, and the drop-offs from Pantoja and Dvalishvili. Chimaev continues to divide fans, terrify opponents, and dominate the conversation. Some love him, some hate him, but nobody ignores him. And now, statistically, he is the 3rd best fighter in the world. Of course, the pound-for-pound list doesn't always move upward. With champions falling and new kings being crowned, the rankings have fresh names entering the conversation. Petr Yan returns to the pound-for-pound list at number 6, following his championship victory, a strong signal that one win, if big enough, can rewrite your status overnight. Joshua Van, the new flyweight champion, enters at number 11. That debut ranking says everything about how highly the UFC sees his potential. 4 fighters, Dricus du Plessis, Magomed Ankalaev, Jack Della Maddalena, and Arman Tsarukyan, slide just outside the top 10. None of them dropped dramatically, but they lost placement simply because the top of the list just became more crowded with champions, former champions, and pound-for-pound heavy hitters. Meanwhile, 3 fighters remain untouched. Islam Makhachev at number 1, Ilia Topuria at number 2, and Max Holloway at number 10. The top of the mountain remains the same. Makhachev continues to rule as the sport's most dominant champion. Topuria holds his place as the undefeated featherweight king and one of the most dangerous strikers in the world. And Holloway remains a top 10 staple even without a belt because his body of work, skill set, and consistency speak for themselves. And while some climb and some hold steady, others disappear. Charles Oliveira and Belal Muhammad have both been removed from the pound-for-pound list entirely. Not because they're not elite, but because the UFC's rankings sometimes move fast and without mercy. All of this leaves the MMA world with one undeniable truth. UFC 323 didn't just crown new champions. It reshuffled the entire global hierarchy of the sport. The victories, the defeats, the injuries, the shocks, every moment of that night sent ripples through the rankings. And as a result, Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira, Volkanovski, and Chimaev now sit higher than ever while 2 champions tumble down the list. The UFC pound-for-pound rankings are designed to reflect who the best fighters on earth are, regardless of weight class. And today, after a chaotic weekend, a violent main event, an unexpected injury, and a shakeup that nobody saw coming, the list has been rewritten again. Some fighters rise, some fall, others stay exactly where they are. That's the nature of the sport. Everything can change in a single punch, a single scramble, a single round, or sometimes, in the case of Alexander Pantoja, in just 26 seconds. And with the new rankings now in place, the road ahead becomes even more compelling. Champions defend, contenders chase, the UFC evolves, and the pound-for-pound debate, always heated, always emotional and controversial, continues stronger than ever.